Hi there folks, welcome back to this video. We're going to use the same project as we did before, but this time I want to work on the timing effect as opposed to most of the other parts. And what I want to show you is how we can adjust the time using the curve editor. Now the curve editor in pretty much every program is where the heavy animation occurs. It's basically where all of your timing fixes are made. If you have to adjust anything, you want to use the curve editor because you have the most control over what happens. So what I want to do is I want this thing to move with ease. So I don't really need a very detailed landscape here. So what I want to do is I want to get all my layers. I'm going to turn off my motion blur. Okay, that's going to free up some RAM so that whenever I scrub this, I can see exactly where it's going. And also, what you can see is that I can actually turn down my viewport resolution by going from full to about a third. You know, like I said, it's not really important to see all the fine detail of these objects. I just got to see where my camera is going and just kind of adjust some of the timing effect. As I scrub this from the left to the right, you'll notice that as I get to about the 2-second point, my animation slows down immensely. Okay? Then it kind of speeds up again as it gets to about 3 to 4 seconds. And from 5 to 6, it goes pretty smoothly. But what I want is that this to be a consistent speed, a consistent velocity throughout the entire animation. So let's go back to the 0 seconds point. Let's open up the camera here, and you can see all of my different animations here, okay? I have my position, my rotation, and the zoom animated. And if you notice that whenever I have something animated, I also have this little icon beside it. This is the curve editor icon. Whenever I depress this, this option will be available to view in the curve editor. And the curve editor is accessed by this option right here, by this button right here. It is the very last button on the right on the top of your layer panel. When I press this, you'll see a whole new world of animation. All your keyframes here are marked by these little anchor points, okay? Now, in After Effects, there are two different types of your curves. I'm going to turn off my position and turn on my rotation. And as you see, this thing just looks like a plain Bezier curve, okay? Whenever it goes down to my negative points here, that's going to my negative degrees. Whenever it goes above the 0 degrees point, it's going above degrees. So it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to know. And what I can do, instead of having this nice, harsh curve here, what I can do is press one of the key frames, click on this button right down here, which is my convert to a Bezier curve. And let me do that for the other keyframes here as well. And what you can see what I'm doing here is that I can adjust the intensity of this curve now. I can say that this is going to have a very slow curve from the 0 degree down to my negative up to my positive here. I can adjust this top one here as well, and this one here as well. I can adjust my curves any way I want to. So it's really easy to adjust how this will work here, okay? So with my position, however, let me switch over to my position. Let me undepress this, and I'll depress my position curve editor icon. This is what is called a velocity curve. Now, it doesn't go by your position as from 0 to negative space or your positive space. What it does is it has my seconds on the very, very top. And on the left-hand side, it has what is called pixels per second. Now, the more pixels per second I have, the faster my speed will be. The more velocity I'll have throughout this animation. So what you see here is that at 400 pixels per second, my camera moving through the Z space is going pretty quickly. Once it hits 2 seconds, it just drops off dramatically. Now I want to fix this so that this will be a consistent curve, or at least be a smoother transition from this point here. Everything else seems to be okay. Maybe my 8 to 9 second here is going to be a bit of a move here as well. To do this, what I can do is I can drag a marquee around all of the interior keyframes. I want to leave the first keyframe and the last keyframe unselected. I only want to select the inside keyframes. When I do this, I'm going to right-click onto one of them, and I want to press this button here called Rove Across Time. What this is going to do is that it's going to place these keyframes in places so that I can move them easily. This will place these keyframes so that I can move these easily. So let me move this last keyframe down some to the 0 mark. And I can move this top one here down here as well. So what you see here is that this is going to start pretty slow, speed up quickly, have a consistent time throughout my duration of the video. So from 2 seconds to about 7 seconds, it's almost the same duration. It's almost like the same speed. Then from 8 seconds, this will drop down dramatically to be like a slower speed. On these handlebars from each one of these anchor points, I can pull this. So what I can have here is this is going to start fast and then just slowly drag out. So it's actually slowing down. Or the other way here is I can actually take this one here and do the opposite. So what's going to happen here is that this is going to start slowly and then end really quickly, which is not what I want to do. So let me actually fix this, and I'll have it start fast and end slowly. So let me just pull these handlebars like this, okay? I can also adjust all of these inside of here in case I want to make this go fast, slow down, and then go fast again. I can just adjust these middle points here. I like the way this goes right here. So what I can do is let me actually bring this down to 0, and I'll shrink this handlebar there. And let me see if I scrub this. Let me see how this looks with the time. Okay, so it goes faster, and it slows down some, but it's still a consistent speed there. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. There's one thing here that I want to fix, though, is this little bump at the end here. Do you see this little bump? Around 8 seconds to 9 to 8.5 seconds, it just kind of bumps back and forth, okay? I'm going to delete this last keyframe and move this keyframe to time 8, like that, to my 8-second mark. And then fix this point here. So what's going to happen here is that whenever it gets to this last point, it'll just kind of stop there. Okay? Let me go through this again. Faster, then it slows down. And my rotation keyframes seem to be on mark, so it's not a bad thing. Okay? If I wanted to fix those as well, I would just hit this little icon next to my graph editor set, and I can adjust how my rotations look. If I wanted to see my rotation as well as my position, I would just pick my rotation graph editor point, and I could see them both here as well. So the pink would be my position, and the blue is my rotation. Okay? So rotation's not bad. It looks pretty good. And what I could do here is that when I go back to my 0 mark, I can actually view this at the intended speed. So to RAM preview something in After Effects, you want to press the 0 button on the numeric keypad. It's the 0 right next to the period. As I do this, you'll see that this green bar is kind of animating as it goes. Okay, and what After Effects is doing is that it's storing all these keyframes in its internal memory. Okay, this is kind of faster than kind of adding this to the queue and then rendering this. Okay, this is kind of like a quick way to do things. So as you can see, working with this, the curve editor is the most important aspect of animating. Without the curve editor, we really couldn't do all the fine detail animations that we currently do within 3D Max, Flash, within After Effects, and Maya. To become a very good animator, you need to learn the curve editor. The curve editor is probably the most important part of the animation process. Now, my motion blurs are not being seen here because they're not on, but if I turn them on before I render, I'll have all my motion blurs as I go through this and everything. So I'll also upload this video in addition to the previous one that I made, and you can see the difference in the timing. The timing is the most important part of your animation. Without selling your time, the animation is not as good as it could be.